Before you sit down for your next lunch, I want to ask you something important. When was the last time you thought of your meal not just as food, but as fuel for your masculinity? Not just calories, not just convenience, but a conscious act of restoration, of strength, of desire. Because what you put on your plate at noon could decide how your body responds at night. And for men over 60, this truth becomes even more powerful. Welcome, my friend. My name is Dr. Gabriel, urologist and specialist in male vitality after 60. And if you're watching this, chances are you're searching for more than just nutritional advice. You're searching for fire, for clarity, for strength, not just in body, but in intimacy. And let me tell you something that most won't. Your libido doesn't disappear with age. It disappears with neglect. Neglect of movement, neglect of sleep. And yes, neglect of what you eat, especially during the day when your body is still in action. Too many men over 60 make the same mistake. They skip lunch or they eat fast, processed meals that drain their energy. And then, when evening comes, they wonder why the spark feels dim, why their body feels heavy, why their desire is missing. What if I told you the answer doesn't start in the bedroom, but at the kitchen table? What if I told you that the proteins you choose at lunchtime could reignite your stamina, support your testosterone, and restore your drive? And I'm not talking about exotic pills or expensive powders. I'm talking about real, nourishing, masculine food. The kind that speaks directly to your cells, your blood flow, your hormones. The kind that brings you back to life. In this video, I'm going to walk with you, step by step, through the proteins that work for men like you. We'll explore how they affect your circulation, your muscle tone, your testosterone levels. We'll talk about timing, pairing, and the overlooked mistakes that silently sabotage your performance. But first, let me ask you this. Where are you watching from? Which city? Which country? Write it in the comments below. Let me know where in the world men are rising again, choosing to eat with intention, to live with fire, to walk with power. Because this is not just a video, it's a movement, a declaration that aging does not mean decline. It means refinement. It means you get to choose every single day how you want to feel as a man. So breathe deep, sit tall, and listen closely. Because from this moment forward, your lunch will never be just lunch again. Let's start with a truth that few men truly understand until it's too late. After 60, your body becomes more selective, more sensitive, more reactive to what you feed it and what you don't. Protein is no longer just a macronutrient. It becomes a message, a signal, a biological command that tells your body to build, repair, activate. And when it comes to libido, that signal is everything. Because desire is not born out of nowhere. It comes from energy, from blood that flows freely, from testosterone that circulates steadily, from a nervous system that feels sharp, alert, grounded. And protein is the raw material that makes all of that possible. You see, testosterone, the very hormone that fuels male desire, performance, and confidence, is made from cholesterol, yes, but supported by amino acids, enzymes, and vitamins that all depend on the quality of your nutrition. If your lunch is high in sugars, refined carbs, or industrial oils, it spikes your insulin, inflames your gut, and dulls your hormonal response. You might feel full, but you're not fed. You might feel heavy, but not strong. But when you eat clean, digestible, hormone-supporting protein, especially at lunch, you set the stage for evening energy, mental clarity, and intimate readiness. Now here's what most people don't realize. Protein timing matters. Waiting until dinner to get most of your protein? It overloads your digestion. It shortens the window for absorption and tissue repair, and it leaves you depleted all day. But when you prioritize high-quality proteins at lunch, when your metabolism is still active and your hormones are in motion, you give your body the fuel it needs at the perfect time to support healthy testosterone balance, lean muscle retention, and vascular strength. That's why I want you to begin seeing your lunch not as a break, but as a turning point. The fork in the road that decides, will you finish this day strong, or will you drift into the evening tired and unmotivated? Imagine this with me. You sit down at your midday meal. In front of you is a plate of warm, savory protein. It could be grilled salmon rich in omega-3s, known to reduce inflammation and support blood flow. Or maybe pasture-raised chicken, with its clean amino acid profile and low hormonal disruption. Or perhaps a few soft-boiled eggs with the yolk still golden, nutrient-dense, natural, masculine. You eat slowly, your digestion responds, your brain lights up, your blood sugars remain stable, and your body says, "Thank you." This is where libido begins, not in fantasy, but in function, in the deep cellular health of a man who eats with purpose. And no, this isn't about becoming obsessed with numbers or protein powders. It's about reconnecting with what your body actually needs, what it was designed for: muscle, strength, vitality. These are not reserved for the young. They belong to the wise, the committed, the intentional. Now let's talk about the proteins themselves, those that work with your body, not against it. The ones that don't just fill you up, but fill you out, that build your foundation as a man in his 60s and beyond. You've probably been told many things over the years: eat less meat, avoid fat, focus on calories. But the truth is far more nuanced, especially for men in your age group. Because at this stage of life, quality is everything. And certain proteins carry with them not just nutrients, but messengers. Messengers that tell your body it's still alive, that it's still potent, still worthy of feeling pleasure, strength, and purpose. Let's begin with eggs. Simple, powerful, and one of nature's perfect foods. They are packed with protein, B vitamins, healthy fats, and, most importantly, choline. Choline is a key nutrient in the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in muscle function, focus, and sexual arousal. I often recommend soft-boiled or poached eggs at lunch. They're easy to digest, and the yolk, when left intact, holds a treasure of hormonal support. Don't fear the fat in eggs. That fat is your ally, not your enemy. Then there's salmon. Wild-caught, fatty, rich in omega-3s and selenium. This isn't just brain food, it's blood flow food. Omega-3s help reduce arterial stiffness, allowing blood to reach all areas of your body more efficiently, including those that matter most when intimacy is involved. A few ounces of grilled or baked salmon at lunch can become your secret weapon, not just for heart health, but for the fire below your waistline. Now let's talk about lean beef. Not processed, not charred, but gently cooked cuts of grass-fed beef. Why? Because they offer bioavailable zinc, a mineral directly tied to testosterone production and sperm quality. Zinc also plays a role in regulating dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for reward, motivation, and yes, desire. Men deficient in zinc often report low libido, fatigue, and emotional flatness. A serving of clean beef 2 to 3 times a week can change that. For those who prefer poultry, pasture-raised chicken or turkey can be excellent sources of clean protein. They offer the amino acids necessary to maintain lean mass and support metabolic activity, both of which decline naturally after 60. But more than that, these proteins digest well, especially when combined with anti-inflammatory herbs like rosemary, turmeric, or thyme. Your libido doesn't just need strength, it needs stability, and stable digestion is the key to hormonal harmony. Don't overlook legumes either. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, when properly prepared and paired with complementary proteins, can offer plant-based support to your masculine system. They contain fiber, iron, and a steady stream of energy that helps regulate blood sugar. This is critical because erratic glucose levels are one of the hidden killers of male libido. Finally, I always recommend rotating your proteins. Your body loves rhythm, not repetition. Giving it a variety of amino acid profiles, fats, and micronutrients allows it to stay metabolically active, reducing inflammation and supporting optimal hormonal function. But I want to be clear about something. It's not just the protein that matters. It's how you eat it. Are you sitting down? Are you breathing deeply between bites? Are you chewing slowly, engaging your parasympathetic nervous system, allowing for proper absorption? Because digestion starts not in your stomach, but in your mind. If you eat in a rush, in stress, or in distraction, your body will struggle to use what you give it. Even the best proteins can become burdens when swallowed unconsciously. So when you choose your lunch protein, treat it as something sacred, an offering to your future self, to the man who still wants to love fully, move freely, and live passionately. Now that you know what works for your body, it's time to uncover what quietly works against it. because in my years as a physician, I've seen countless men over 60 sabotage their vitality not through laziness or lack of desire, but through innocent choices made at the lunch table. It often starts with bread, that seemingly harmless white roll or sandwich bun that sits beside your plate. Made from refined flour, stripped of fiber, loaded with sugar-spiking carbohydrates. What happens next is subtle but powerful. Your blood sugar rises, your insulin floods the system, and your testosterone, your very foundation of male vitality, takes a hit. Most men don't realize that insulin and testosterone are in a constant dance. When one rises sharply, the other tends to fall. And when this pattern happens daily, especially at lunch when your hormones are still in play, your drive weakens. Your muscles shrink, your spark dims. And then comes the processed meats, sausages, cold cuts, fast-cooked hamburgers. Often high in sodium, preservatives, and low-quality fats, these proteins are nothing like the ones we discussed earlier. They clog your arteries, inflame your gut, and introduce compounds that confuse your hormonal messaging. You may feel full, even satisfied, but your body isn't being nourished. It's being burdened. Let's talk about fried foods. The crispy chicken strips, the battered fish, the golden fries on the side. They look comforting, but comfort has a cost. When oils are heated at high temperatures, especially vegetable oils rich in omega-6, they become inflammatory bombs. They thicken your blood, strain your liver, and slow the very circulation that fuels your erections and energy. Inflammation is one of the great silent killers of libido. It dulls the signal. It clouds the sensation. It weakens the response. Now consider the sugary drinks, that iced tea with added syrup, that soda, even fruit juices that seem healthy but hit your bloodstream like a wave of glucose. They don't just affect your weight, they disrupt your entire endocrine system. A spike in sugar can reduce free testosterone within minutes, and over time, it leads to insulin resistance, low energy, poor recovery, and a gradual loss of desire. Not just physical desire, but desire for life itself. And there's another trap: skipping lunch entirely. Some men believe that fasting or minimal eating during the day will help them reset. But the truth is, undernourishment leads to depletion. Your body needs resources, amino acids, minerals, fats, to maintain hormonal balance. Starving your system robs it of that support. You might push through with coffee or distraction. But later, when connection calls, your body will whisper, "I don't have enough. I want you to hear me on this." Your libido is not an accident. It's not just a mystery or a phase of life. It is the natural result of thousands of biological decisions made by your body every day. Decisions influenced by the food you eat, the thoughts you think, and the way you move. So what can you do? Start noticing. Watch how your body responds after a clean, balanced lunch. Notice how your mood, clarity, and confidence shift. Then contrast that with the sleepy, heavy, foggy feeling that comes after a meal filled with sugar, fried foods, or low-quality meats. You have the power to choose which man you become at every meal. You can feed the man who's fading, or the one who's rising. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, about making conscious choices that honor the body you've worked a lifetime to build. Choosing the right protein is the first step. But combining that protein with the right partners, those powerful, often overlooked natural allies, is where real transformation begins. You see, food is more than nourishment. It's chemistry. It's interaction. It's a symphony of signals moving through your bloodstream, your nervous system, your hormones. And when you choose to pair your protein with ingredients that open blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and fuel your endocrine system, you're not just eating, you're healing. Let's start with leafy greens. I know, they don't sound exciting, but spinach, arugula, watercress, and kale contain high amounts of nitrates. Once inside your body, those nitrates convert into nitric oxide, a gas that relaxes and dilates your blood vessels. That means better circulation, better oxygen delivery, and yes, better performance where it matters most. When you pair a protein-rich lunch, like salmon or eggs, with a handful of dark greens dressed in olive oil and lemon, you're telling your arteries, open, flow, nourish. Then there are fermented foods: a spoon of sauerkraut, a few slices of fermented cucumber, a sip of kefir or unsweetened yogurt. These foods feed your gut microbiome, the billions of microbes responsible for breaking down your food, producing neurotransmitters and supporting hormone balance. A healthy gut means better absorption of the amino acids from your protein, and better absorption means more building blocks for testosterone and muscle tone. Now let's add color to your plate. Bright, vivid colors from real food are a sign of phytochemicals, natural compounds that reduce oxidative stress, boost circulation, and support libido. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, which supports prostate health. Beets enhance nitric oxide production. Red peppers are high in vitamin C, which helps reduce cortisol, the stress hormone that steals your testosterone when left unchecked. Think of it this way. Every color is a signal to your body. Red says, stimulate. Green says, cleanse. Orange says, repair. When your plate is vibrant, your blood becomes vibrant. Your energy returns. Your clarity sharpens. And your desire awakens. Don't forget about healthy fats. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on your vegetables. A few slices of avocado beside your protein. A handful of walnuts or pumpkin seeds. These fats don't just help you absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K, they also stabilize blood sugar, protect your nerves, and create the raw material for hormone production. For men after 60, fats are not the enemy. They are the foundation, the container, the structure that holds your vitality in place. And water. Always water. Not soda, not juice. Just clean, mineral-rich hydration. Without enough water, your blood thickens. Your digestion slows. Your circulation suffers. No matter how much protein or libido-boosting food you consume, if it's not moving smoothly through your system, it's wasted. Start your meal with a glass of water. End it with another. Make hydration a habit, not an afterthought. But even with all this information, here's the most important truth. Your meal is only as powerful as your presence. If you rush, if you eat distracted, if you ignore your body's signals and treat food as an obligation, not an opportunity, then none of it truly lands. But if you sit, breathe, chew with intention, and honor your plate like it holds your future, because it does, then you unlock a level of energy and manhood that most have forgotten. There's something men often overlook, especially those entering their 60s and beyond. It's not just about what you eat, it's about when and how you eat. Timing, rhythm, and ritual. These elements form the invisible structure that either supports your masculinity or weakens it. The midday meal, your lunch, carries more power than you realize. It's the moment when your body has already awakened. Your cortisol levels have stabilized and your digestive fire is active. In traditional medicine, Eastern and Western alike, this period, roughly between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m., is considered the peak time for digestion and nutrient assimilation. If you eat your lunch too late, your energy begins to drop. Your metabolism slows, and your body starts preparing for rest instead of performance. If you eat too early, your system may still be in the wake-up phase, not yet ready to break down and absorb the richness of a full meal. But when you honor this midday window, you align yourself with your body's deepest intelligence. You give it what it needs, exactly when it needs it. So here's my first prescription. Commit to lunch. Don't skip it. Don't push it aside. Don't eat it standing up or behind the wheel. Sit down, create space, and most importantly, disconnect. Put the phone away. Step out of the noise. Allow the act of eating to become a personal ritual. Because when your mind is present, your digestion follows. Hormonal balance isn't just the result of food. It's the result of peace, focus, and consistency. Now let's talk about frequency. Many men fall into the trap of eating erratically. Big meals one day, tiny snacks the next. Or worse, they rely on processed convenience options when time is tight. Your body, especially now, craves rhythm. It doesn't just want fuel, it wants predictability. When you feed it consistently, with intention, it stops panicking. It stops storing fat for survival. It stops releasing stress hormones like cortisol, which directly suppress testosterone. That's why I often tell my older male patients, treat your meals like medicine, 3 times a day, without chaos, without guilt, without rush. Your hormones need that reliability to regulate. Your libido needs that rhythm to wake up. Now, let's bring this back to lunch. Picture this. It's 12:15 p.m. You've taken a pause from your tasks. You sit at a table, not a desk, not a couch. In front of you is a balanced plate. Clean protein, leafy greens, healthy fats, vibrant vegetables. You take a breath. You express silent gratitude, not just for the food, but for your body, for your life, for this new chapter you're actively building. You chew slowly, deliberately. You sip water between bites. You let conversation flow or silence settle. You finish not stuffed, but satisfied, energized, not heavy. And when you stand, you feel it, not just in your stomach, but in your chest, your clarity, your confidence, your blood flow. That, my friend, is lunch as it was meant to be. Not a rush, not a punishment, not a mindless refill, but a ritual, a reconnection. And if you do this, day after day, meal after meal, you will notice a shift. Not overnight, not in one miracle meal, but gradually, deeply, permanently. Your skin will change, your eyes will brighten, your sleep will deepen, your strength will return, and your desire, the pure, natural, sacred desire to feel alive, will rise again. The moment you take that first bite of high-quality protein, a cascade begins, an intricate choreography inside your body designed to support strength, clarity, and desire. Most men never stop to consider what's happening beneath the surface, but I want you to see it, to feel it. Because once you understand what your food is truly doing, you'll never approach a meal the same way again. As your protein enters your stomach, your digestive system wakes up with purpose. Hydrochloric acid flows. Enzymes like pepsin begin breaking down long chains of amino acids. And those amino acids? They are not just nutrients. They are messengers. They are builders. They are raw material for testosterone, for dopamine, for serotonin. They travel through your bloodstream and whisper to every cell. It's time to repair. It's time to grow. It's time to activate. Your liver receives these signals and begins orchestrating metabolic functions. Muscle tissue responds by triggering protein synthesis, especially if you've engaged in movement that morning, and this matters more than ever after 60. Because with each passing decade, our ability to maintain muscle and hormone balance diminishes, unless we intervene, unless we nourish, unless we give the body what it needs. As amino acids circulate, they tell your pituitary gland, the body is ready. That gland, small but mighty, responds by stimulating the production of luteinizing hormone, your body's internal spark that signals the testes to produce more testosterone. This isn't theory, this is biology, and it starts with a single meal, a conscious choice. Alongside this, your brain registers the influx of nutrients. Blood sugar stabilizes, not spikes, not crashes, but smooth, steady support. You feel alert, not jittery like caffeine, not sedated like heavy starches, just clear. Your mood lifts. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter of motivation and pleasure, rises gently. You feel more inclined to connect, to move, to focus. Your posture changes without effort. You feel grounded. Your blood vessels respond too. If your meal was paired with nitrate-rich vegetables or healthy fats, nitric oxide is released, expanding your arteries, improving circulation, not just to your brain or your heart, but to the lower parts of your body as well. Erections are a vascular event. They require healthy blood flow, and this moment, after a nourishing lunch, is when your body is primed to support that mechanism. And then there's the long game. Consistently consuming adequate protein helps preserve lean mass, stabilize insulin sensitivity, and reduce inflammation. It's not about bodybuilder muscles. It's about functional strength. The kind of strength that lets you climb stairs, carry your grandchildren, or take your partner's hand and dance without fear of fatigue. I've had patients who began this simple practice, prioritizing high-quality protein at lunch, and within weeks they reported more energy in the afternoon, deeper sleep at night, and yes, a return of intimacy they hadn't felt in years. It wasn't a miracle pill. It wasn't a hormone shot. It was nature, honored daily. But here's something just as important. The emotional effect. When you choose to nourish yourself, truly nourish, you begin to rebuild something that may have been lost over the years. Self-respect, a sense of stewardship over your body. That quiet pride that says, I still matter, I'm still in charge, I can still feel alive. Food is power, not just fuel, not just flavor, but a tool for remembering who you are. And that's why I urge you, as your doctor and your ally, Don't underestimate the simple act of sitting down to a proper meal. It's not small, it's revolutionary, especially now. I want to take a moment now to step out of the science and into the stories. Because as a doctor, what moves me most deeply are not the data points or the clinical charts. It's the real men, the faces, the moments of awakening, the quiet victories no one sees. There was João, 67, a retired electrician from São Paulo. When he first came into my office, he looked tired, not just in his body, but in his spirit. His eyes were dull, his voice quiet. His wife had urged him to see me because, in her words, he's fading. João admitted that he skipped meals often, especially lunch. He didn't feel hungry, he said. Didn't feel much of anything. We started simply: grilled chicken, a boiled egg, and a salad with olive oil at noon every day. 2 weeks later, he returned with something different in his posture. His gaze met mine. He told me he felt like he was back in his body. A month later, he reported he and his wife had shared a romantic evening for the first time in almost a year. He smiled when he said it, not shy, but proud. Then there was Pierre, a widower from Lyon, France, 72 years old. He used to be a runner in his youth, but grief had taken his appetite, his strength, his motivation. His lunch consisted of crackers and instant soup. We made a small shift: lentils, grilled salmon, steamed spinach, and water with lemon. Every day at 12:30, I asked him to light a candle when he ate, to create a sense of presence. Within 3 weeks, he began walking again. Not far, just to the bakery and back. But it was something. One day he told me, "My wife would be happy. I'm not gone yet." In New York, there was Michael, 64, a corporate lawyer, divorced, who had lived on protein bars and fast food lunches for years. He came to me not for libido, but for brain fog, irritability, and low energy. I asked him to take 1 hour for lunch, just one, no calls, no email. A meal with turkey, quinoa, avocado, and roasted vegetables. The first week was a struggle. By the third, he started noticing a calmness he hadn't felt in decades. And yes, his libido returned too. But more than that, his relationships improved. His son called him more often. His coworkers smiled at him again. He felt connected. These stories are not rare. They are not miracles. They are what happens when men give their bodies what they truly need, consistently, with reverence. You see, food is not just about pleasure or discipline. It's about love. It's about coming home to yourself after years of neglect or distraction. And it starts with one plate, one choice, one lunch. When I walk through the hospital or speak to groups of men, I often ask them this: when was the last time you had a meal that made you feel stronger after eating? Not heavier, not sleepy, but clearer, sharper, more alive? Most can't remember. But when they begin this journey, their answers change. They say things like, "I feel like I have fuel now," or "My mind is quieter," or even, "I didn't know food could feel like this." And I want that for you. I want you to experience the dignity that comes with strength, the pride that comes with taking care of yourself, not for vanity, but for vitality, for presence, for love. So now that we've seen what protein does inside your body, how it sharpens your mind, stabilizes your hormones, strengthens your blood flow, it's time to translate that into action. Into the sacred ritual of building your lunch. Not a menu, not a diet, but a plate of power. A plate that speaks directly to your age, your needs, and your future. Let's begin with your foundation, the protein. This is the anchor of your meal. Not because of fashion or trend, but because your body demands it. After 60, your muscle fibers repair slower, your hormone production declines, and your metabolism needs more support, not less. That's why your lunch must include a solid, bioavailable source of protein. Think grilled chicken, wild salmon, lean beef, eggs, turkey breast, or even legumes like lentils and chickpeas if you're plant-based. But the key is quality, something real, cooked with intention, seasoned with care. Then, around that protein, imagine color, imagine life. Add vegetables, not just as fillers, but as medicine. Broccoli, spinach, arugula, bell peppers, carrots, tomatoes. Each brings a spectrum of nutrients that assist in digestion, blood flow, and inflammation reduction. These aren't sides, they're allies. Your testosterone depends on the micronutrients they carry: zinc, magnesium, B vitamins. Now balance that with healthy fats: avocado, olive oil, a few almonds or walnuts. These aren't indulgences, they're hormonal fuel. They help carry nutrients deeper into your cells, support brain clarity, and yes, play a direct role in testosterone synthesis. Fat doesn't make you fat. It gives you fire if it's the right kind. Carbohydrates? Yes, but the right kind in the right amount. A small serving of sweet potato, brown rice, or quinoa. Enough to support energy without crashing your blood sugar. Enough to give you fuel without stealing your clarity. Your goal isn't to feel full. Your goal is to feel fed, nourished, lit from within. Now picture that plate. A portion of grilled chicken, a side of sautéed greens, a few roasted carrots, a small spoon of quinoa, a drizzle of olive oil, and water. Clean, mineral-rich, perhaps with a squeeze of lemon. That is not a restriction. That is royalty. That is a man choosing life. And it's not about complexity. In fact, the most powerful lunches are often the simplest. They don't require gourmet chefs or exotic ingredients. Just rhythm, just repetition, just care. You don't need 7 different recipes. You need one plate that works, and a reason to return to it daily. This plate becomes your compass. Your quiet anchor in the middle of the day. When you sit down to it, you're not just eating. You're resetting your chemistry. You're rebalancing your emotions. You're reminding your body, we are still in motion. We are still vital. We are still capable of love, passion, strength. But let me say this clearly. What you eat doesn't just feed your cells. It trains your brain. It trains your willpower. And over time, the act of building that plate becomes an act of self-respect. You begin to walk differently, breathe differently, think differently. Others will notice. They may not know why, but they'll feel it. Something in you will have shifted. In the final block, we'll close this journey with a reflection on what it means to eat for life, not just for libido. How this lunch becomes a metaphor for everything you still want to create, feel, and experience after 60. But before we go there, let me ask you, what does your plate say about your priorities? Is it built for habit or for healing? If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is ready. Ready to shift. Ready to rise. You may not know exactly how. You may not feel entirely confident, but the desire, that quiet burning sense that your body still holds untapped strength, is alive. I see it in you because I've seen it in countless others. And I want you to know, it's not too late. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need to become a new man. You simply need to return to the one you've always been, before the noise, before the fatigue, before the doubt. You see, aging doesn't rob us of vitality. Disconnection does. And the path back is not through punishment, but presence. And that presence starts on your plate. When you choose to nourish yourself at lunch, not just to fill your stomach, but to feed your future, you begin to rewrite your biology, one meal at a time. You begin to train your brain to recognize discipline as dignity. You remind your heart that love for yourself is not selfish, but sacred. And you awaken parts of your body that may have grown quiet. Not because they're gone, but because they've been waiting. Waiting for your attention. Waiting for your commitment. Waiting for your respect. Protein is not just a nutrient. It's a declaration. Every bite says, I'm here, I care, I'm not giving up. This is why so many men, after 60, experience something extraordinary when they change the way they eat. It's not just better sleep, not just better erections, not just clearer thinking. It's the return of a man who knows who he is again. A man who looks in the mirror and sees not just age, but power. Not just wrinkles, but wisdom. Not just survival, but purpose. So I ask you now, where will you begin? Will it be tomorrow's lunch? A simple piece of grilled fish, a handful of greens, a quiet moment away from distraction? Will it be a walk after eating, where you breathe deeply and let the sun kiss your skin like a blessing? Will it be a conversation where you tell your partner, I want to feel alive again? Because I promise you, one choice leads to another. One good lunch becomes two. Two become a week. A week becomes a lifestyle. And a lifestyle becomes your legacy. You don't have to do it alone. Here, in this space, you are part of a brotherhood, a movement of men who are choosing to reclaim their vitality, not with shortcuts, but with sacred habits, not with fear, but with knowledge, not with shame, but with pride. And if you felt something stir inside you during this video, don't let it fade. Speak it, act on it, live it. I'm Dr. Gabriel, and I'm honored to walk this path with you. If this message has resonated, I invite you to leave a comment below. Tell me your name, your city or country, and what part of your life you're ready to reignite. Let us know you're here, that you're listening, that you're ready. Because every man deserves to feel strong. Every man deserves to feel wanted. Every man deserves to feel alive. And it all begins with what you put on your plate today.